The third Reconstruction that is underway and is in the planning, and the visions are coming together for a way to address poverty, repair all the breaches, and we seem like we're having a breach a minute going on in the country. We're having so many problems that we're really going to have to get down to real leadership and really addressing them. And we're building bridges, but they're bridges to nowhere. And the bridges we have built are falling in, and we can't seem to get the money either to repair the physical bridges or to repair the needed bridges toward addressing poverty, racism, all the other many problems. And so I'm seeing that our vision is going to have to be that we begin to ask God to come to us and tell us, this will have to be a lot of prayer. God was going to have to paint a real vision before our eyes of how to do this in a way that will work this time. Because, here we are, the first and second Reconstruction didn't work. It all fell apart halfway midstream, like a wagon crossing the river. And, if you don't check everything out, and then your wagon falls apart right in the middle of the river, it's a lot harder to repair it. And so we need to try to get a vision of a wagon that will carry us on through this time. And it needs to be well constructed and well thought out. We have a lot of leaders that are trying to lead, but they're leading probably over the cliff. But at least they're not leading in the right direction. They're setting up mirages to lead people to, just so they can say they have led them somewhere, leading for the sake of leading. There is such thing as that, I want to be a leader. I want to be in power. So I'm going to cut out a niche, and I'm going to say, I'm going to lead you. I'm going to lead you this direction, just so I can, feel like I'm being followed and I'm, a great leader and so forth. But I don't stop and really pray for a real vision as to what I'm going to do and where I'm going to lead people. We need some leaders that have real vision, that are real prayer warriors. There's nothing wrong with prayer warriors. God is real, and the sooner we realize how real God is, the sooner we'll be able to do a construction that'll work. And so, we have people now that'll say things like, just to show us how we're going wrong. They'll say, well, we just need to do away with the black church, because it's because they feel like, because they're teaching politics, and they're stirring people up. That's what some of them will think. And others will think, well, it's just because they're not really enough involved in politics as far as real change and as far as really being activists. They're not activists enough. And others think they're too activists. And so some people want to just do away with the black church. And then others want to do, they just want all the black people to be and the white people, Caucasian people, Asian people, everybody to be all in one church. And then others, now we even have people that have the gall and just say, well, we would be better off as a country if we didn't have any churches, because the churches are all leading us over the cliff. Every church is leading us over the cliff. Okay, well, we need to get this third Reconstruction in order to address poverty. And a lot of the reasons for the poverty is the lack of vision that people have as to where success really lies and where the resources really are, and how to get a hold of those resources, and how to empower people that need to be empowered. And where is that source of power? And so in this Reconstruction, let us really begin to understand our real resources, and that our resources are our people. People are all, it's a strange superstition that had come about in the last few centuries, that some people are only resources as a means to providing of the resources for somebody else, in order to work for somebody else, or in order to uh, 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 to make it easier for somebody else's life, and that's all they're good for, is just make it easier for somebody else's life. Well, I mean, we have to take our place in life seriously, and we have to realize that the jobs we have, I mean, they're necessary jobs, and have great satisfaction in them, and it doesn't hurt if it helps somebody else in the process. However, when people come to look upon some people, others of a different race, as being only there to serve them, or their only purpose in life is to work for them, no matter who it is, whether it's Asians, or in one time the Italians, they were only here to work for the Irish and the English, and didn't work so well with the Indians, so they didn't go along with the program. And then we had the Asians, especially the Chinese, that come over, and they put them to work building the railroads and everything. Well, we are coming to a time when Reconstruction is going to have to involve the image that every human being in the country has a soul and has creativity, and needs to be unleashed. It's going to help our whole country if everybody is able to unleash their creativity, and they are remunerated for their creativity, and they're encouraged to be inventive, and encouraged and given an incentive to unleash their creativity. Because people of different one good thing about people of different races is that the people in different races have different different creative abilities, and they have different artistic abilities, and a lot of times, and they have different abilities to invent and create and innovate, and that's different somewhat from people of another race. And so when we incorporate all of that into one glorious race of everybody getting along together, and then putting all of our creative ideas together, the whole country is going to be better for that than it is separating people out, for some people for this and some people for that, especially when you're making that depend on what race you're in, determines what position you're going to have. Everyone has to have the same opportunity, and we have a lot of people that will talk about how, oh, certain classes of people or certain races of people, and it can go for class just as well for race. Certain classes or certain races of people are just born inferior. I mean, they're just born inferior, when really it has a lot more to do with environment than anything else. If they appear inferior, which actually they're not, but they appear inferior, that has a whole lot more to do with the environment and education and all them things like that than it does the race that the person belongs to to begin with. Well, we have such crazy people that will teach that the Caucasian people are superior, and then you have some elite, they'll teach Asians are superior. And when you look at their mathematical ability many times, and their computer skills and all, you start wondering, maybe they are superior, uh, and uh, and so we need to realize that people can have superior qualities, but they're not born superior, and they're not their potential is not going to always be superior just because of their race. It has to do with a lot of things other than that. And so in the third Reconstruction, we need to consider all these ideas and realize, what are we going to do to get just the common ordinary people? And I'm not talking about inferiority. I'm just talking about the common ordinary people, and meaning there's a whole lot of them. God created a lot of poor people. He must have loved them, but and He does. But to look at to realize that in order for the common people need to have a vision that is real, a real vision, not just a vision that, oh, I hope the government will give me something. I hope the government will take care of this problem. And then you got the visionist leaders up there that they wouldn't know how to take care of their own problem if they hadn't inherited some money, or they wouldn't even. Some of them wouldn't know how to put their own pants on if they wasn't reminded of how to do it every day. And so you've got people like that, trying to pretend like they got a vision, and they don't know what the heck they're doing, and so. We've got to all of the common, ordinary people, the multiplication of people, are going to have to get a vision for themselves of how to get along with people of every race, creed, and color. Everybody, it's all in this country, and it's all been in this country a long time. Not going anywhere. The crazy visions that people have of moving one race over, to some other landmass, South America, or wherever, Africa, Australia, or one side of the country, or whatever their crazy vision is. Canada, maybe move them down to North Mexico, or whatever their vision is. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. And what would be the reason, really the logic, anything like that? I mean, why? That's a superiority complex right in itself. Why would we feel like that another race of people has any less right to this country than we do? I mean, would it be just as easy for one race as the other to begin to resettle somewhere else? So we have to get beyond visions like that, and we have to get into the visions of how all of our people, all 350 million of our people being equal, will get involved in one great vision from God as to how to build a nation that is fair and cooperative and provides the resources, not necessarily just handouts, but resources for people of all types and all creeds and colors and races, that they can become part of the American dream, and that they have a means in order to empower themselves so that they can have the life that they need, and they can take care of their own families as they see fit. And of course they'll have ideals and visions that apply to them and help them, and we are able to understand that, get along with that, but all have a common vision, which God can give us. That common vision, God can give us a real vision of how to do a reconstruction or an initial construction or whatever, in a way that it will be a solid building. What would you think of somebody that would build a building and they'd put it's going to be a brick building, but every other brick, every third or fourth brick, they'll put in a piece of wood or something, that's shaped like a brick, or something made out of some pliable material, some lesser material, and then they get it all up there, well, and it doesn't hold, and so they say, well, okay, let's reconstruct it, and it breaks down again, and then let's reconstruct it the second time. And then we want to go back and that building for a third reconstruction. We better look at what we did the first and second times, in order that the third reconstruction will be done in a way that will hold and the building will last. It's built on a good foundation. It has the right brick, has everything in there that needs to be having in there. And so let us see that there is the availability of a higher vision when we seek for it, and that God is available to give us that vision. And so much against getting rid of the black church, what we need is the black church and the other churches, all the churches, need to do more praying. And the black church needs to stay there so that they can pray, and so that they can help each other, encourage each other, lead each other, give sermons that tell the problems, what the problems are, and all them kinds of things. And so does the other churches. And they need to be there to encourage each other. And then we need to do more praying in all the churches. And every church needs to learn to pray to be able to get along with all the other churches. And so we need to get a vision like that of a massive construction of a country where everybody gets along, everybody prays together, and everybody is able to come up with workable visions, not just, we come up with a fake vision so we can be a leader, come up with a fake vision, and then we'll march out there with that fake vision so we can be a leader. We got to get a real vision that comes from God. That's what we got to do with the third reconstruction. And so let's pray right now That vision will go well with everybody, and y'all, anybody that needs to be healed will be raised up. Anybody that needs a new vision will get it, and we'll draw together and just pray for that ability in the name of thy Father, in the name of thy blessed Holy Son, Jesus. Amen.